What is going on? Ladies and gentlemen, it is Corey, your Autobot. And wow, I've missed you guys. It's been a while. Um, I do apologize for not uploading, but I promise you guys that that long hiatus from uploading will not happen again. I'm going to start being a little bit more consistent with my uploads. And what better way to start off the return to YouTube than having a little bit of a guide. As many of you who have been around my channel before know, I used to make some sniping guides back in my Call of Duty days. And, well, seeing as I've made the switch over towards more League of Legends content over everything else, that is what this is. This is a League of Legends guide, more specifically for the champion that I have come to love and I've been maining now for almost 2 full seasons, XERATH. So, we're going to get right into the quick and dirty of the guide, guys. And if you guys have any questions that I don't actually answer with this video, be sure to drop a comment down below and I will do my best to answer. Alternatively, you can come to my Twitch when I'm live. I'm live almost every night. And yeah, just ask me a question in chat and I'll answer. Simple as that, guys. But we're going to get right into the quick and dirty here. And we're going to skip the stuff that you're going to be worrying about in game. We're going to go in order here. We're going to start right from champ select. We're going to start with the bans. So if you're playing XERATH, you are going to want to ban Fizz, Zed, or Katarina if you're playing mid. That's just my personal opinion. Those are the 3 bans that I generally stick with. Obviously, it is dependent on what you do not want to play against. Personally, I say Fizz is the biggest pain in the ass to play against as a XERATH player because he has his E, which he can use to tower dive you and dodge your stun, etc., etc. So Fizz is pretty much a perma ban for me when I play XERATH mid. Alternatively, if you're playing him support, I mean, support's really all just preference at that point. I generally go for the Blitzcrank or the Brand, but again, it's all personal preference for you. What you guys don't like playing against in that role, regardless of who you're playing, is probably who you're going to ban anyway. But again, assassins in general are a very good ban when you're playing XERATH because of how immobile XERATH is as a champion in comparison to assassins, and they can just one-shot you. But, of course, when it comes down to it, my personal preferences are in this order of Fizz, Katarina, and Zed. And obviously for support, it's Blitzcrank and Brand. And depending on what they have for an ADC or what kind of team comp I have, I very well might be the team player and even ban Pyke because fuck his ult resets, to say the very least. Anyway, moving on to the next thing you're going to be worrying about in champ select, which will be your runes. Now, there's 3 different rune sets that you could go here. I'm going to have the 3 keystones, just to give you guys a rough idea. You're going to go First Strike, Arcane Comet, or Dark Harvest. Now, First Strike and Arcane Comet would be the 2 most consistent that I've had a lot, and I've had a lot of success with both of these runes. Dark Harvest only really works if you're playing against a predominantly squishy team. If they have 5 squishies, Dark Harvest is fine. 100% go with Dark Harvest. But if they have any sort of tank, which if you're playing in a higher elo, 9 times out of 10 they will, avoid Dark Harvest, just stick with Comet and First Strike. Now, under the First Strike rune page, I take Boots, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight with the Sorcery secondary tree with Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm. Now, I do occasionally sub out Absolute Focus for Transcendence or Mana Flow Band, and I sub out Gathering Storm for Scorch. But Absolute Focus Gathering Storm seems to work best for me. It might not work best for you, but again, you're welcome to mix and match the runes as you please. I'm just going with what works best for my playstyle, which is the Absolute Focus Gathering Storm. Now, the one thing that will never change across all of my rune pages, and I will tell you this because you should do the same thing, is you take double Adaptive Force and then you switch your armor and your magic resist based on your lane opponent. If you're playing him support, I personally would take armor just because it's going to be the ADC that's going to be the bigger threat over the support. Now, for the Arcane Comet rune page, I go Mana Flow Band, Absolute Focus, and Gathering Storm. Now, obviously, you can sub out Transcendence for Absolute Focus and Scorch for Gathering Storm if those fit your playstyle better. But again, these are what works best for me. For my secondary tree, I either go with the Inspiration tree or I go Precision. Now, for the inspiration, I go boots and biscuits. If I go precision, I go presence of mind and coup de grace. Now, again, these are essentially going to go for what you prefer. The boots give you the obviously the free boots, and the biscuits gives you the free mana regen and the health and the actual little bit of the bump up in mana as well. Alternatively, if you're like me, you prefer to go the presence of mind, coup de grace route. So when the enemies are lower, you do more damage. And when you land your abilities and auto attack on top of Xerath's passive, you get the extra mana from presence of mind. And again, of course, like I said earlier, double adaptive with magic resist or armor, depending on who you're laning against. Now, for the one rune that I will say that you probably won't be taking very often, Dark Harvest. Um, for that rune page, I go with Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collection, and Ultimate Hunter. Of course, with Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm. Alternatively, you could sub out with Presence of Mind and Coup de Grace. Now, a lot of people say, you should take Cheap Shot, but Taste of Blood I find works better because if you are getting whittled down a little bit in lane, you can actually use Taste of Blood on Xerath because you do a decent amount of damage, and so you get that healing off of that. Now, Cheap Shot does work well, but I find Taste of Blood does work better. Obviously, it's going to be a preference on that one, so you can switch between those two. I personally go with Taste of Blood, and it hasn't really let me down yet. So, I will reiterate, you will be taking Comet or First Strike more often than you will be taking Dark Harvest. Dark Harvest is only for a 5-man squishy team comp. Otherwise, Comet and First Strike will be more consistent because Comet, you'll get that extra poke off with the Comet proc, and with First Strike, you net extra gold, so you get your items a little bit faster. And speaking of items, we're going to get into the builds more specifically. We're going to start off with your starting items. Now, your starting items, there's 2 routes that I take, and one of them is not something that you're going to expect. The first start is obviously your fabled Dorn's Ring and 2 potions. Obviously, if you're playing support, it's going to be Spell Thief's Edge and your 2 potions. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's how it is. You don't like it. Too bad, so sad. It's what works. That's all I have to say. But in terms of the mid lane, you are going to go, like I said, Dorn's Ring, double potion, or you're going to go Corrupting Potion. Dark Seal is not a viable start right now for Xerath in the current state of the game with the assassins being as strong as they are. I would highly advise against starting Dark Seal in every possible scenario. Never start that item. It is a snowball item. You only buy it if you are ahead. Now, I'm going to get into why I say Corrupting Pot. Corrupting Pot gives you a decent amount of health regen, and it gives you mana regen. So if you're someone who struggles with mana conservation, obviously, this would be a decent item for you. And it's actually, I've been taking it into matchups like Kiana and Zed. I've been taking pretty much most assassin matchups and matchups where I'm going to be behind early because they can, just jump on me and 0 to 100 or 100 to 0 me really, really quickly. Corrupting Pot has actually won me more fights than you would think. And it's actually a very, very viable start on Xerath. So into an assassin matchup for Xerath, I would 100% recommend taking Corrupting Pot over Dorn's Ring. Now, we're going to get into the mythic items now. So there's 3 mythic items that you're going to build on Xerath. Ludens, which is I'm just going to do flat damage and not really worry about anything else. Liandry's, you've got 2 or more big tanks, I'm going to burn you down. Or your crown of, oh shit, you have an assassin that can 100 to 0 me, I'm going to need some damage reduction. Pretty much sums up what the items are used for. In games where you really don't have to worry about whittling down multiple tanks or have to worry about assassins 100 to 0ing you, Ludens is 100% the best option. In games, like I said, where you have multiple tanks to deal with, Liandry's is your best option. And in games where you're going to get 100 to 0 pretty frequently against like a team that has like a Zed and the Kali or something along those lines, like if it's one assassin, just build a Zonia's, you'll be fine. But if it's multiple assassins, 100% build Crown. Now, as far as the rest of the builds go, guys, there are going to be some builds popping up on screen for you guys that I run on Xerath. Now, obviously, each build shows 7 items instead of the maximum 6. The reason for that is because Morellonomicon is generally an item that I sub in for something else if I need the heal reduction. So, say for the glass cannon, rather than me throwing in the Void Staff, I take the Morellonomicon instead. Pretty straightforward, I think. If you guys have any questions about the builds, be sure to drop in the comments below. I'll be sure to answer any and all questions. And if you guys have any build suggestions, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys run on XERATH as well. Maybe something that I haven't seen yet that might be sleeper OP. And just to reiterate, guys, the anti-tank build is going to be when you're playing against a team with multiple tanks. You can avoid going demonic if you wish, but I like the extra percentage of health damage because it does stack. And the defensive build is more when you're playing against a team that's got a lot of assassins or a lot of just one-shot capability. Now, we're going to get on to the last point of this video. And that's just general advice that I can give you. When you're playing XERATH, obviously you want to watch your mana. That is the big thing with XERATH. You want to play around abusing your laner if you have more range than them. If it's a melee champ, don't be afraid to walk up and give them an auto or two when they go to take minions. You know, little things like that. When you are playing against an assassin like Zed or Kiana, for a prime example, first back, and I mean this, and I cannot fucking stress this enough. Your first back, you are buying a fucking Seekers. Why? Because that's armor early. Zed and Kiana early versus armor can't do shit. And it's stacking armor as you kill minions. So if you're laying against a Zed or Kiana, and again, I repeat this because I myself made this mistake many, many times, and I'm trying to help you guys here. When you're laying against them early, buy a fucking Seekers. Screw starting your Mythic first. Get a Seekers early. Okay? Do I make myself clear? Good. Now, one thing that I do see a lot of XERATHs doing is taking teleport. Don't take teleport on XERATH. Under zero circumstances. If you're playing him mid, you take barrier. You take flash barrier. If you're playing him support, you take flash barrier. Unless your support wants you, or unless your ADC rather wants you to take heal, at which point you take heal. If he wants you to take exhaust, you take exhaust. But under zero circumstances will you be taking fucking teleport. Okay? Okay. Now, this last little point that I can give you guys. This one's going to upset a lot of low elo players that like to flame their teammates for not roaming or following the roams, etc. As XERATH, you can make roams. You can, 100%. But you need to know when to do it. You just killed your mid laner and you still have full health and you have your ult. And you can see, oh, their bot lane's looking kind of low. Yeah, make your way down safely, obviously, on your side, like in the jungle, close to your jungler, or basically on your side of the map, essentially is the easiest way I can put it. And see if you can get an ult off and snag a kill or two. However, on the other side of things, when it comes to the whole countering the roam that your laner is making, what you need to do first is ping the fuck out of the fact that your laner is missing and spam ping the lane that you believe he's going to. Or spam ping the fuck out of both lanes. Like ping twice mid and then for missing and then go caution ping bot, caution ping top because you have no fucking idea where he's going. Whatever. Just make sure that your team knows that he could be coming. With that, you push the fuck out of the wave and make sure it gets under tower. Why? Because he's roaming. He's leaving lane. Therefore, you want him to lose the minions that are in the wave. Why? Because then that means he loses gold and he loses experience, which means it puts you further ahead or brings you closer to him if he's ahead of you. Now, what you do next might get you flamed, might not. You have a couple different options. Obviously, you could do the same thing that you did when you killed your laner. You could go back through on your side of the map, like closer to your tower through the jungle to look to make a play bot with your ult or top with your ult, or hell, just even roam down, make a play for dragon if you guys have priority. and the other lanes. Whatever. Do what you have to do to help your team here. But if you have no vision when you go to make the roam through the river or up top or wherever, do not go. Because as a Xerath, if you face check a bush or you face check anywhere where there is no vision, the potential of you getting absolutely ass blasted is insanely high. So with that, if you look to make a roam to counter a roam being done by the person that you are laning against, make sure there's vision. If there is no vision, it is a no-go, and just ping, push the wave, and take it back and spend your gold. Maybe go back to your side of the map and look to make a play from the safety of your side of the map with your ultimate, if you have it. If you don't, then just take it back, buy your items, and come back to lane. All you can do. Maybe try to sneak. If Dragon Pit's on your side, maybe drop a ward in Dragon Pit. If Baron's on your side of the map, maybe drop a ward in the Baron Pit to get vision on Rift or whatever. Just do not go onto the enemy side of the map or cross that center line of the river without vision. Because if you die, that essentially hurts not just you, but it hurts your team, because that gives the enemy gold that you could have avoided giving them because you made an ill-advised play. I would rather see you guys get flamed because you didn't follow your laner and you make the right play versus you guys follow your laner with zero vision and die as a result. Now, the reason that I bring this up, in particular with the people flaming and you make the right play, one coach that I've been watching a lot of and I've been considering getting coaching from him myself is Nice. And one thing that I saw in one of Nice's coaching videos, or wasn't a video, it was actually one of his streams on Facebook. He was coaching a student and Nice went, "Don't make that roam. If you roam, you will die." Sure enough, his student listened, didn't roam, shoved wave under tower, and took it back. And this is the exact same thing I'm telling you to do with Xerath. He wasn't playing Xerath, but he did the exact same thing that I'm telling you guys to do. And this is where I picked this up. So shout out to Nice for that one. He made the right play, and he didn't roam. His teammates then began to spam, ping him, and flame him for not following his laner. Now, what the student did was he got vision elsewhere on the map, on his side of the map that could help his jungler out. I believe it was actually Dragon Pit. Yeah, it was Dragon Pit, and he got flamed by his top laner for not following the roam. But that was the right play. Why? Because there wasn't enough information for him to correctly decide to make the roam topside. Now, obviously, when you go to make a roam, look, hey, are they pushed up to my teammate's tower? If they're pushed up to my teammate's tower, then yeah, the odds of you being able to make a roam are probably pretty solid, especially if your jungler is on that side. If your jungler is on that side, by all means, make that roam. 100%. Just stick with your jungler. Don't go down through the river unless your jungler is there, essentially. If your jungler is not there, stick to your side of the map and make the roam that way. Just whatever you do. If you're going to make a roam, make sure you have enough information or enough team support when you go to make the roam that it's not going to come out with you giving the team or giving the enemy team 300 gold. The objective of you making a roam is to try to help your team create pressure elsewhere on the map, not for you to just cough over gold for no apparent reason, especially if you're worth a bounty as well, by the way. I can't stress that one enough. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to roaming and counter roaming on Xerath, it's basic macro. But you don't have to fully commit to actually getting right down into the lane like you do with other laners, because you can actually make a difference from a little bit of a distance with your ultimate. So there's less commitment required with the roam with Xerath. But on that note, I hope you guys found everything that I gave you guys in this guide helpful. Of course, if you guys have any other questions, my Discord will be down in the link in the description. My Twitch, hop in, ask me questions, whatever you guys need to know. I mean, maybe I'll look into doing some VOD reviews for you guys as well. If you guys would rather that as well, if you guys want, I can give you guys some VOD reviews. I do plan on doing some VOD review streams for those of you guys that wish to have it. I mean, I'm not the best player in the world, but I can definitely help you point out a few things. Hopefully, I do have friends that are also in like high elo that can also help and would be willing to help. So shout out to those guys. But yeah, I mean, hopefully you guys retain some information from this guide, and hopefully you guys put it to good use. Hope to see some of you guys on the Rift, and good luck in you guys' climb this season. I'll talk to you guys in the next video, and I'm out. Peace!